So we had another great question come in the other day about quantum physics and whether or not it's really worth trying to learn and understand some of these concepts in terms of how they relate to expanding consciousness and spirituality and meditation, mindfulness, all this good stuff. And the short answer is yes, it's definitely worth it to try and understand some of these things. But the reality of quantum physics is that we really don't understand it, and anyone who says that they have a great grasp on it is kind of fooling themselves. And I think that's one of the coolest things about it, that it's we can start to explore it and expand our knowledge on it, but it's really, to some extent, outside of our capacity to comprehend, because it is somewhat in conflict with the nature of our reality. So the other part of that question was where to go to learn about this stuff. And I have a couple of books that I would recommend. What I want to say also is that anything you're studying that has to do with like the law of vibration or law of attraction can definitely be somewhat of a translation to quantum physics. It's all kind of talking about the same stuff. But they just may not mention quantum physics or quantum mechanics in their description, but it's still kind of all related. The real meat of it is the idea that our perception is what creates our reality. And so what you start to understand more about is the fact that everything is energy. Nothing that we think is solid is really solid. It's all just energy that has been kind of thought into form, and we as a collective consciousness, we reinforce those same perceptions to the extent that things are really believably solid and present. So even us, we are energy, but we think ourselves into being. And it's really kind of hard to wrap our minds around a lot of this stuff, and that's okay. But it's definitely worth kind of opening yourself up to and exploring some of these concepts, because it starts to get you out of the stuckness that comes with being in the human experience. And I think the human experience is very important. And there's a lot for us to gain, both from the positive and negative aspects of the human experience. So we don't want to lose ourselves in things like quantum physics or even spirituality, because I believe we're here in our human experience for a reason. But there's definitely a lot out there that's really interesting and worth looking into. So the second part of that question was where to go for this information. And I have two books that I usually recommend. They're both listed on my website, which is in my bio and everything all over my pages. It's just my full name, CarolineLeeDewey.com. And I have a recommended reading section, and in the spirituality section, I believe it's the first two books. One of them is this one that I have here, an Ascension Handbook, and the other one is called Becoming Supernatural. And both are really good. I always recommend people to look into these books themselves and choose which ones kind of stand out and seem interesting. But you can find that link and get these books, and you can also keep following me, because I will definitely be talking more about stuff related to quantum physics for sure going forward. So